All right, dude, we are live. What's up, guys? This is Dem Keys, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a short stream. That's why there's also no BREADCAM. We're probably not going to be focusing on electronics a whole lot. We're probably not going to be focusing on electronics a whole lot. I only have like an hour, unfortunately, to stream, and so I wanted to. Do I only have an hour? Well, I mean, I did become late to start the stream. And so that's why I decided to only do an hour's worth of streaming. I could go like maybe an hour and 15 minutes, perhaps, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I've made progress. I've been busy working on the content pipeline all throughout today and yesterday after yesterday's stream. And I'm happy to report that I've made a decent bit of progress on the content pipeline. And I also got to test out what the results are going to be like. The results are amazing, by the way. Um, so it turns out that, so initially what I was planning on doing was I was gonna this was gonna be our this is our clip manifest, right? The idea was that the program or the script will read this entire thing and then write this entire thing back to, well, not back to, but write this entire thing to another file. However, for each clip, it would add an index. So that would be our indexed clip manifest, which is this. So if you see here, basically just it just adds an extra index, which is okay, cool, great. The next step was going to be actually, okay, wait, let me back up for a second. So the idea was we first, give me a second, let me do it through here instead. So the idea was that we first, actually, let me do the wrap thing. Actually, if I do the wrap thing here, I don't think it's a per buffer setting. So it might, well, okay, I can disable it. So the idea was that we read the clip manifest. Let me move this. We read the clip manifest. Let me show it to you in here. So we'll read the clip manifest first, which is here. And then what's the next thing we do? We enumerate over the entire list because this is essentially a list of dictionaries that's being read from the JSON file. So it creates that list of dictionaries and stores it into an object called clips, and then we enumerate over this object, and for each dictionary in this list, well, I was about to say in this object, which is technically still true because a lot of things in Python are objects. But anyways, we then enumerate over this list and assign an index to each dictionary that we find. So in each dictionary that we find, we'll add an extra field called ID and assign an ID value depending on what our current index is over here in enumeration. And that's it. Then once our list is now updated with, a bunch of IDs added to it, we then write this entire list of dictionaries to a new file called indexed clip manifest. That is our this file. And so now you can then see there's an additional field called ID. Okay. After this happens, so we've written the data to this indexed clip manifest file. The reason I had done that was because I wanted to. The reason I had done that was because I I had a doubt that I might need to run two separate versions of the, what do you call it, of FFmpeg to do the extraction, because I wasn't sure what the results were going to be like if I used the lazy copying method in FFmpeg without going into too many technical details, because even I cannot explain those technical details. But you can like ask Gemini about it. Gemini will explain. There are two ways. There's probably multiple ways to do it, but there's two ways that you can essentially extract a section or an entire file. Like um, you can read a section of a file and then output that. There's two ways to do that. One is something called the copy method. It's a copy stream kind of thing. Um, it's reading in a very lazy way. Again, I cannot explain the technical details because I myself don't understand a lot of this video container tech. I tried getting into it and it's really interesting, but there's quite a bit of information there, and it just didn't seem worth my time, considering that I'm not doing too many things with, video tech. So diving too deep into it, it wasn't really beneficial all that much. The main thing to understand is that between these two methods, one is the copy stream method and the other is the encoding or decoding method. In the copy stream method, it doesn't decode, because all of these videos, for the sake of reducing the file size, they use some sort of encoding, some sort of compression. That compression is what we call encoding, and that's a very clever way of essentially compressing all of the data that's within these frames. And because of that compression, um, we don't have to store every single frame of the video, because storing every single frame of the video would make the video file size massive. So thanks to these various different encoding formats and encoding mechanisms, we are able to reduce the file size. Okay, great. Um, However, this also means that if you're reading the video file, then you have to first decode this entire video, or you have to decode like a certain portion, whatever you're reading. Uh, you have to decode that. If you are jumping to somewhere in the middle of the video, there's a decent chance that it's going to have to decode quite a bit before the part where you jump to, or even worse, it might have to decode from the very beginning just so it doesn't miss anything out. And when you have to do that, wait, give me a second. We are dropping frames. So I need to do something about this. Give me a second. I'm just doing a couple of things to hopefully fix the issue. Okay, I think we're coming back. Yeah, yeah. All right, so back to what I was saying. Um, so yeah, a lot of these videos, they use some sort of encoding algorithm, some sort of encoding format. I'm not sure what to call it, because the encoding is compression essentially, so it's a method or an algorithm. You wouldn't say format necessarily, but yeah, uh, a lot of these videos, they use some sort of encoding, and because they have been encoded, you have to decode them before you can do something with them, right? That takes time. However, there is a lazy way of doing it. FFmpeg gives you an option to where you can jump to a specific section, um, and it'll continue. It'll just start reading from there. There are some drawbacks to that. Certain technical details that I can't really explain myself. One of the details that I do know is that it's not going to be able to catch the exact moment where, like, let's say you decided to go to a certain point in the video, which lands on a certain frame. However, that frame, it's part of um, that frame. That entire frame has not been stored. That frame is maybe instead storing the change from a previous frame, and that's storing a change from a previous frame, and so on. Like, just as an idea, because again, I can't really explain this, but just a conceptual overview of it. If you end up in that kind of situation, you might end up in a situation where you have frame freezes. So if you cut the video at that point, you might get a frozen frame, or you might get a black screen for like a second or two, or maybe a couple of seconds at either the beginning of your video or at the end of your video, or both. The good news is that it usually doesn't impact the remainder of the video. It's just at the beginning and the end is going to be a tiny bit choppy. So if that makes a massive difference to you, then you have to re-encode. You have to go with the encoding method where it'll decode um, a lot of the frames in order to get to the point where you're trying to start the video from, or start the slice from, and then it's going to read up to wherever you want to end the slice, and then it's going to encode that entire thing. Sorry, voice crack, holy shit. Sorry, it's not gonna it's gonna re-encode the entire thing. That is why this operation tends to take a little longer. So there are two methods to go about quote unquote extracting a video, slicing a video out of another video using FFmpeg. And I wanted to go for the lazy method. My idea was, because I knew that I would have to review the clips initially, because like I want to see the clip before I decide to upload it, right? Before I even decide whether it's worth uploading or not, I need a way to preview these clips, and I don't want to keep, uh, I don't want to have like the entire VOD open and just keep manually jumping to the specific timestamps. That's just very inconvenient. So instead, what I wanted to do is I wanted to use the lazy method to slice out all of these segments and export them as their individual videos, so that we end up with something like this. A whole bunch of videos based on what has been described in the clip manifest. Okay, now where does indexed clip manifest come in? To be honest, it was part of the workflow. The reason it was part of the workflow is because I had a doubt that I might need to properly extract the clip. So I was like, okay, okay, properly as in I might need to use the re-encoding route, which would be slower. So I was like, okay, let me use the lazy method to extract all the clips so I can view and find out which clip I like, or which set of clips I like. And because there's IDs attached to each clip, you can see here at the beginning of each file, there's, holy shit, okay, it's showing the preview massive on the right side. I just noticed that. Oh shit. Okay, I just made a mistake. I forgot to refresh this feed so that you guys would be seeing the thing. Now you see it. Yeah, now you see it. I mean, before you might have been seeing it a little bit delayed, but I'm pretty sure you were still seeing it before. Either way. So these are the clips now. Let me just do it here. These are the clips now. Basically, it's just these are sliced versions. So let's open the details of one of this. So you can see codec. Codec is basically the encoding thing. Encoding and decoding as well. This is one of the multiple different algorithms that can be used. We've used the most common one, which is H264. You can see the duration mentioned here is 1 minute and 11 seconds. Another clip here, 1 minute 9 seconds. Another clip here, this one is 2 minutes. There's a couple of clips that are 3 to 5 minutes long, which I like that's the case. What was I going to say? Where was I going with this? Yeah. Basically I got good results here. Um, Going back to the script, I was explaining about the script. So the idea was that we're gonna write this now indexed data to an indexed clip manifest file. And that's pretty much what I showed you here. Wait, does the wrap thing apply everywhere? I don't think it applies everywhere, does it? It's per buffer. It's per buffer. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that the wrap setting, the line wrap setting that I've done here. I'm glad that this is per buffer. Okay, so what happens next? The next thing we do is once we've written this index data to, the thing, then and I'm glad that I now that I think about it, I'm glad that I created this indexed version, and even I've written it to what do you call it? I've written it to a separate file because at some point later, right now these are just, they've been sliced from start time to end time, and whatever is in between that, that's in the video, right? There's no sort of processing that has been done on it. No, it hasn't been run through any sort of filter to, for example, get rid of dead air, like maybe slice out a bunch of the dead air sections. Uh, I haven't really done anything for that. Hey, give me a second. I need to step away for just a couple of minutes. Actually, I'll take a small break. There's something I need to check on. I'd kept something on the flame, and I need to just go take a look at what's going on with it. Um, I'll be back. All right, I am back. Sorry about that. I had to go check on the thing that I was cooking and turn off the flame and do stuff. Okay, let me refresh this feed. Okay, so I don't know if I've done a very good job of explaining what I was trying to explain because I was kind of like all over the place. There's like multiple, different things going on, or rather, my way of explaining makes it seem like there's multiple very complex things going on, but it's really a very simple process. It just I had to take some time to figure out the workflow. Give me a second. I had to take some time to figure out the workflow, a workflow that actually works for me because there was a bunch of testing that I had to do as well. The first iteration of this FFmpeg. Actually, okay, let me finish what I was saying here. So after we have written this indexed clip manifest data to the indexed clip manifest file, we then iterate over the clips object that or the clips list that we already have. And for each clip, we generate an output file name. I don't think this includes the path, does it? No, it doesn't. And then we generate this command. Essentially, the entire ffmpeg command that we're going to be writing, it is being presented here as a list of values, a list of strings. Apparently, this is safer than directly passing one string um, into the command. I haven't looked too deep into it, but Gemini said that it prevents something called shell injection. So I'll have to look into what that is and how, that whole thing works. Granted, this is my own tool. I'm the one that's using it, so I don't think I need to worry too much about security words. Holy shit. I don't think I need to worry too much about security related stuff because, again, my own tool, I'm the one using it. I'm going to put this up on GitHub, by the way. Speaking of GitHub, I also set up the repo for this because something that I realized is that I haven't been using Git nearly as much as I should. Um, and because of that, I've been forgetting a lot of the Git stuff that I learned. Like we did a bunch of Git learning streams in the past, both learning the command line and also learning Git through Git UI. It was a good informative experience. It was a very, very informative experience. And I'm kind of glad that I got into Git UI because um, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure even like a lot of people who use Git regularly, even they prefer some sort of UI, whether it's a GUI or a TUI. They prefer some sort of UI to work with. It's that tends to be depending on what your workflow is like, depending on how much you're committing and what exactly you are doing with Git. It ends up being a little more, okay, I want to say a little more productive, but I guess that's subjective. It ends up being a little less tedious in terms of trying to do Git operations. At least that's what it was for me. It's so much easier, so much quicker to stage the files here in Git UI and then commit the files, and then you can instantly look at your log, look at all the previous commits and stuff. So yeah, yeah. Anyways, what I realized is that I haven't been using Git nearly as much as I should, and I should be using it a lot more. Um, so I decided to, set it up for this repo. There's a bunch of other projects that I'm working on that also I need to set up the repo for. There's a bunch of projects that I have planned also for which I need to set up the repo. And my thing is, I wanted to have like a central repository or a central, for each of these projects, I wanted to have a central location where, where the repo is stored. So like for each of these projects, I'll have let's say I'll pick a specific folder, a specific directory on the file system, and in that directory I'll have all of my central repos. For every project, there's going to be one central repo, and whatever I'm currently working on, that's going to be the working copy. The central repo is going to be elsewhere. I'm saying elsewhere, but that elsewhere, quote unquote, is going to be either on this same machine or on a different machine on the network, but it's going to be a local thing. So I want to have like my own local central repo for each of the repos that I'm creating. Additionally, for each of these repos, if I plan to push it to GitHub, I want to add a remote for that as well. And so I'm exploring the concept of remotes again, for both the central repo thing and for pushing to GitHub. And this is what I'm saying when this is what I mean when I say that, like, I haven't been using Git nearly as much as I should, and that's why a bunch of these workflows that or a bunch of these things that should be you know relatively simple for me to set up and do. They should be like a common knowledge kind of thing for me. They're not. And I want to make it a common knowledge thing. So I want to start using Git a lot more. And hopefully, along the journey, I'll get to learn a lot more advanced things about Git as well. There's a bunch of features in Git that I don't use right now. Like, for example, stashing. That's something that I haven't used. We did explore it, but like I don't use it as often. Maybe at some point in the future, something will come up where I need to do stashing. Um, then there's something called cherry picking. There's rebasing. There's also resetting. That's something I need to explore with a very simple bare bones repo to understand two things. One, how to jump back to a certain commit. Jumping back to a certain commit is just checking out that commit, at least from what I know. Um, the thing is, when you do this checkout thing, it changes the head position. So anything that you're doing from that point on, it kind of branches out. It's not rewriting the history. So, like, I have to understand what's going on there. What's the idea there? Um, and like once you jump back to a certain point and then you branch out from there, I believe you also have to save the branch, because if you don't save the branch, now you've got I forgot what they're called, orphan commits maybe, because like um once you switch back to the main line, once you switch head back to main, and you go to like the latest commit, you have no way to get back to this branch that you had created, because what you created, what you did, it created a branch, but you didn't save the branch. So there's no way for you to reference that unless you actually have like the commit stored somewhere, and you can explicitly tell Git to jump to that point. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. There's like a bunch of fairly advanced Git things that I would like to get into at some point, because it would be very beneficial to know this stuff. And there's been enough situations where I've said that, oh, I want to start pushing more stuff to GitHub, and in general I want to start maintaining repos for various things. There's been enough situations like that where I wanted to do that, and I just didn't do it. Sorry, zoned out. So yeah, I wanna do that. I wanna I wanna learn more about Git. I wanna practice Git more. For the time being, I just wanna get my practice of basic Git stuff. I wanna get into the habit of doing Git stuff. Just make it a habit to um, set up a repo, set up a git ignore file, make a change and then decide which changes to commit. Um, maybe maybe set up branches. That could be a thing as well, because branches are a useful, very useful feature, especially if you're working on, a complex project and you don't want something that you're working on to kind of be part of the main line just yet. Then it's incredibly useful. I feel like I'm going to be using that at some point once we start working on serious um, more serious Rust and Python projects. I feel like I'm going to be using that a lot more. Give me a second here. Okay, all right. So back to this. So for each clip, we generate this entire command. The command includes various options like where to start from, and then also the length. So this was interesting. Okay, initially we had SS, which is a start time, the SS flag. That's the start time, and then you have TO, which is the end time. Okay, that was great, right? Um, if SS is before I, it has a different behavior. I is our input flag. So that's how we specify the input file. If SS is before I, sorry, zoned out. If SS is before I, it has a different behavior compared to if it's after I. And it being before I gives you, because of the way FFmpeg works, there's some sort of technical information that Gemini had explained, which I can't remember at this point. But Gemini mentioned that, yeah, if you place SS before, then you're going to get this massive performance boost. Otherwise, if you place it after, then it's going to be trying to read everything from the beginning all the way to the point where you have specified SS, and that can be a tiny bit slow. Especially if, or well, very slow, not a tiny bit. That can be really slow if you have like a bunch of clips that are somewhere in the middle of the 3 hour VOD, or somewhere towards the end of the VOD. It can take a lot of time to seek up to that position. So I placed SS before I, but then I ran into another problem. What was happening was it was it was essentially only looking at the to time. I don't know what exactly it was doing with the SS time that I was specifying, but it was only looking at the to time. So if the end time is, let's say, I don't know, 30 minutes into the VOD, that clip, so let's say the start time is 28 minutes in the into the VOD, and the end time is 30 minutes. So this is supposed to be a 2-minute clip, right? 30 minus 28. But then because of something that was happening within FFmpeg, and this was because of me specifying SS before I, what was happening is it was using the beginning of the video, so 0, as start, and whatever I specified in 2 as end. So what was supposed to be what was supposed to be a 2-minute clip would end up being a 30-minute clip. And I had a couple of instances where this happened before I realized that, oh shit, this is what's happening. Like initially I started to notice that it would start exporting these clips, right? And if you look at the manifest, in the manifest, a bunch of wait, in the manifest, the clips start in sort of a chronological order. So like you can see the start time, it's towards the beginning, right? 11 seconds into the video, and stop at 86 seconds in the video, which is what, 1 minute 26 seconds, I think. That's one clip, and then another clip is, again, still towards the beginning of the video, and you can see 100 seconds in, 200 seconds in, 500, 600, 1000, 1500, 2000, and so on. It keeps going until, it's like all the way towards the end of the VOD. So what I noticed was the initial clips would export very quickly, right? But past clip 5, I guess, it would slowly start to take more and more time to export, and I couldn't understand why exactly that was happening. And with each passing clip, it would become slower and slower, and at one point my hard drive filled up. And that's when I decided to look at the size of each of these clips, and I realized, oh shit, these clips are all like, I had 30-minute clips, I had 50-minute clips, I had an hour-long clip, multiple hour-long clips. So it went into the GBs easily. So anyways, there was a whole mess up there, and then uh, after talking to Gemini about this, I realized that I can just use the T flag. The T flag is for the length. So you go from the start, so you specify the start time, and then you specify the length from start time to whatever length you want. And something I didn't realize, somehow it didn't occur to me to ask Gemini is if this is a possibility. I directly jumped to, so like, okay, in FFmpeg, when you're specifying the time, generally I'm used to specifying it as um, hours, months, and hours, minutes, and seconds. So, you know, um, 30 minutes would be 003000, right? I don't know, an hour and 25 minutes would be 012500, stuff like that, right? I'm used to passing in that kind of time. And I thought that that's the only thing that FFmpeg accepts. I didn't realize that FFmpeg can also just accept seconds, just seconds. Which is great because that's what I have here. If you see the start and end time, it's just in seconds. So I can just pass that in. I didn't have to, come up with this logic that I set up, which again, Gemini helped me for this as well. But yeah, I didn't have to do this. I could have just passed in the length, and once I got to that point where I actually needed the length, then using seconds became all the more important and all the more valuable than the other time format that I was following. And yeah, so that's how iteratively I improved whatever was going on here. And finally, we have gotten to a point where I can just export all the clips. Let me um, empty the trash so I can export again. This is a VOD from the 27th of March. 27th of March, when we did our first stream of the Impel Rust for ESP32 book. That at that point I was like, yeah, I've discovered this, ESP32 Rust gold mine. So I'm getting a bunch of clips out of that. So this is what the extraction process looks like. Um, okay, 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 and done. Just like that, in what's it been, maybe 10, 15 seconds, we have like 37 clips now. And I can go into Yahtzee and look at these clips here. I can open up VLC Media Player. I can launch VLC Media Player and pass in, well, I can launch VLC Media Player from the terminal and just pass in this entire directory, this entire exports directory, and it just loads up everything as one long playlist, and I can start watching all the clips. This is amazing, dude. This is now I have a proper workflow. Also, something great that I realized after looking at all the clips, because initially I was worried. I was mentioning this thing about the, oh, wait. There. I was mentioning this thing about copy. So here you can see this is basically hyphen C and then copy. This is what makes us use the lazy method as opposed to, okay, let me try that again because I had to refresh the feed. So this is the flag. Wait, what did I write here? Oh, okay. This is the flag and this is the option copy. Um, this is what makes FFmpeg use the lazy method instead of decoding the entire video file in order to, or decoding like every single frame in order to get to whatever point you want to get to, because that would be slower. This is much faster. The only downside is this has the tendency to sometimes leave you with, you know, a frozen frame at the beginning or end, or a black screen at the beginning or end. If that's not that much of a bother, then you can just use this method. So I use this. The clips, they look great so far. Um, I don't think I need to do the re-encoding part because what I had in mind was that I would go through all of the videos that have been exported, all of the clips that have been exported, and I'll pick specific clips that I like, and based on their index that's specified, I can create a new script where I can pass in the index, and it's going to read that specific index, or well, the Python script is going to read that specific index in indexed clip manifest. It's going to read that specific index and export the clip for that specific index. However, instead of using the lazy extraction method, it's going to use the re-encoding method. That was the plan initially, in case if the quality of the clips didn't end up being that great with the lazy method, but I'm not seeing any issues with the lazy method's quality. So I think we're good there. Now the next step that I want to take is um I want to set up filters to get rid of dead air. And that's where FFmpeg filters come in. And I'm going to be using Gemini heavily for this, as I've been doing throughout my entire time that I've been using FFmpeg, because holy shit, dude, FFmpeg it's like a Swiss Army knife. It has so many different things that you can do. It's an incredibly sophisticated and very powerful tool. There's just so many different options. If I try to learn how to do stuff, it's going to take me ages, and it's also going to waste a lot of my time because I don't really need to, sit and learn all of that when I can just get Gemini to generate the thing for me. This is actually a perfect example of a situation where you would absolutely want something vibe coded, because there's not been a single time that I've used, okay, specifically for FFmpeg, there hasn't been a single time that I've used FFmpeg and haven't got Gemini to generate the thing for me. Any FFmpeg related stuff that I've done, any FFmpeg command that I've ran, I got Gemini to generate it for me first, um, and then we probably iterated depending on what the output was, or if there were certain things I wanted to change. It was all thanks to Gemini. So this is like a perfect example of a situation where you probably would want some vibe coding done, rather than trying to learn the entire framework slash tool yourself. Um, at least that's my way of looking at it, because like I mentioned before, I don't work with video tech nearly as much to be able to justify spending the time learning about a whole bunch of these things. I could spend the time to learn about a lot of it, and it would be very informative. It would be very educational. But if I'm being honest, it would also be a big waste of my time, or rather, it would be not the best use of my time. It would be time that I could otherwise spend working on actual projects and being productive. So that's why I don't want to dive too deep into it, because I have the tendency to do that, and then end up losing a lot of time. Um, but yeah, yeah. So my next goal here is to use. I'll have to talk to Gemini. Basically, I want to set up a filter to remove dead air, remove segments of silence, and I want to be able to specify like a threshold for how long silence has to be there before the filter gets activated. And it turns out FFmpeg has a filter specifically for that. I think it's called remove silence or something silence remover maybe. Something like that. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing next. That's going to be the next step. I guess that's going to be the next script that I write. So we'll iterate over every single video in the exports folder, which is this directory. We'll iterate over every single video in this directory and just get rid of all the dead air. I guess maybe I could create uh I'll have to see how good or bad the result is, because that's going to need some tuning as well. I'm definitely not going to get the values right, in the first try. That'll definitely need some tuning. So I guess I can initially set it up in like a separate directory and do all of my tests there. And then eventually we can bring it here. That being said, at this point, I do have clips that I can start uploading. In fact, I'm planning on uploading one today. And I think I might need to change the prompt a little bit, the prompt that I give to Gemini, and increase, once I set up the silence remover, the silence removing filter thing, once I've set that up, then I am going to need to increase the time limit. So initially, what I was doing is I was telling Gemini that, okay, the clips can be anywhere between 30 seconds to 10 minutes long. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll say it can be anywhere from 3 minutes to 5 minutes long, because um, even if it's a 3 minute clip, or I can say 2 minutes, even if it's a 2 minute clip, there's going to be a certain you know section of dead air, a certain amount of dead air that I'm going to be taking out. And so the clip is going to end up becoming much shorter. Who knows? Maybe a 2 minute clip might even become 1 minute or 30 seconds. You never know. Because I've seen some dead air in, actually, not some. There's a lot of dead air, if I'm being honest. In my streams, there's a lot of dead air for various reasons. When I talk, right? I'm just constantly talking, which is great. But I sometimes zone out, or maybe I'm thinking, or like if I'm coding, or if I'm reading something and I'm trying to understand what I just read. Um, there could be any number of reasons why I might all of a sudden just go quiet, and then there's dead air on the stream. Or it could be a situation where we are dropping frames and I'm like just quiet for a little bit. It could be anything, right? So I want to get rid of as much dead air as possible, and have these clips be packed with whatever information I'm putting out there. I might actually refine the prompt. Let me see though, because I have some of these clips which are okay. Let's see this one. This is 1 minute and 15 seconds. If I end up removing 30 seconds out of this, it's a 45-second clip. That's not, is it? Is it? Yeah, it's a 45-second clip then. That's not that bad, right? We have this one as well. Uh, this is close to 2 minutes, so shortening that wouldn't be that bad. I have a couple others. Let me show you a longer one. This is 2 minutes. This is minute 30. This is two minutes and 30 seconds. This is 3 minutes and 20 seconds. 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm starting to notice like a linear kind of thing going on here. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. This one is shorter. Okay. So this is around 3 minutes. So 2 minutes and 55 seconds. This is a minute. This is a minute 40. This is 3 minutes 40. So we can say 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes, let's say. Right. So you get the point. I can definitely reduce stuff from this. And that should leave me with a much shorter clip. So what I'm going to do is um, I have this batch of clips, right? I'll run this exact batch of clips through the filter and see what the result looks like. And then I'll decide if I want to tell Gemini if I want to change the time frame that I've given, because in the prompt, the time frame that I've given is anywhere between 30 seconds and 10 minutes. Um, we don't seem to be going near 10 minutes. A lot of stuff stops at around 5 minutes. I think I saw maybe one clip that was 6 minutes, maybe. I don't remember. That being said, like even these long videos, they're not that bad. The thing is, I opened up a bunch of these longer videos, and I realized that the reason they're long is because there's dead air in them, and that's what's bad. So I don't want to have dead air in the video that I'm posting, because that's going to cause people to click off the video, especially if it's on something like TikTok, for example. It's if there's a lot of dead air in the video, people are just going to swipe, right? So I wanna get rid of as much dead air as possible. Yeah, yeah. So that's gonna be the next thing that I work on. And as I'm making more and more progress in here, I'm also making sure to commit the changes. Like this one, hold on. Yeah. So here so far I have two commits. One was the initial commit, which is where I set up the git ignore file and the lazy clip extractor. That's what I'm calling the. Oh, the RTMP feed froze. Okay. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, this is the repo. I've started doing, wait, what is that key? I can't tell what that key is. Give me a sec. Okay. Yeah, never mind. I can look at that later. Oh, wait. That's space. Space is to mark it. I still don't know what marking does, so I'm gonna look at that later. I thought that key was for details, but it's not details. Um, it's enter, and that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get rid of the thing on the side, which it's not like that's a bad thing, but like I was just wondering how to get rid of it. But yeah, these are the commits. You can explore each of the commits as well. Uh, shout out, shout out Git UI. But yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. Then what more is remaining to do? I think I should start uploading the clips at this point, because now I have, like now I have a proper workflow. I need to set up the README file. I created the README file, but I didn't set up anything in it. So I didn't even bother committing the file. Fortunately, we get to choose which files to stage and or which changes to stage and commit. So I decided to just commit the code. I haven't committed the README yet. So there's the README. There's there's the prompt as well. I'm wondering if I should put the prompt a separate into a separate file. Yeah, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to put it into a separate file. I guess I'll just call it prompt.md. I don't know if that might trigger something. I should look into that. Like creating a prompt.md, if that could like trigger anything at all. Cause or if prompt.md means something to other systems, I have no idea. But yeah, I'm okay with, sharing the prompt, so I can commit that as well. In the usage, sorry, in the README file, I can specify that when you are using this prompt, you generally want to divide it, especially if it's a longer video. You want to divide the thing into percentages. So you want to get Gemini to analyze, or whatever, LLM you are using. Um, Actually, it's going to have to be Gemini, or something that can analyze transcripts. I believe ChatGPT can do that. I haven't used ChatGPT, so I don't know, but I believe it can, and probably a bunch of others also can. Either way, whatever LLM you're feeding this into, it needs to be able to um, read the transcript of the video from the link that you give it. So you give it the YouTube link. You give it the YouTube link, and it should be able to visit, the video and read the transcript. Right. Okay. Cool. So we made good progress here, and I've got some more work to do on this. Hopefully by tomorrow's stream, I will have set up the filter mechanism. The thing is, with the filter mechanism, I might actually need to re-encode the entire video. So I'll have to see how long that process takes. Fortunately, I can specify the number of threads to use. So even if it does end up being a lengthy process, um, each of these videos are not that long, fortunately. They are only, a couple minutes long, but even that, it might take some time. So I would like to offload this to, or I would like to limit the number of threads that get used here, just so that the CPU can take its own time and not get super hot and, have problems. But I think that's going to be it for today's stream. I don't think I'm going to raid anyone today. I'm just going to end the stream and continue working on this because I'm excited um, to make progress with the content pipeline. We now have clips that we can upload, dude. I'm excited for that. I'm actually gonna rewatch like all of those 37 clips and pick one or two clips to upload today and tomorrow. I definitely want to upload one today. Um, and then tomorrow I'll upload, and then because I'm gonna have so many clips, so I could possibly also upload multiple times a day now. That would be great as well. Yeah, dude. We are finally making progress. We are finally getting the clips of the stream out there, and I'm excited for that. But that's going to be it for today's stream. Um, I'm gonna try and start the stream earlier tomorrow. Today I had to do some cooking stuff, and that took some time. So um, yeah. Though I've cooked enough food for the next couple of days, so I should be good now. And now I can continue focusing on this. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.